You've spent so much time researching the ideas for your ads, going out, shooting that content, but then you still have to edit all of the ads. And how you edit the content can be the difference maker of this ad working or not working at all. And in today's video, I'm gonna break down 9 different editing tips that will actually boost your performance for your Meta ads. None of these editing ads are the silver bullet to success when it comes to your Meta ads. When you think about how to communicate an idea, these editing tips can actually really help improve how you communicate your ideas and communicate via your ads. Number 1, speed ramping. Speed ramping is a really great technique to be able to emphasize certain parts of your clip while also moving through other parts of your clip that may not be as important. Using keyframes, you can select different areas that you want to ramp up in terms of speed or ramp down in terms of speed. You should have a contrast between fast and slow. Again, visually, you're able to emphasize certain things that you really want the viewer to pay attention to while also moving through a clip that might be really long. Because so many videos are cut and all of the frame rates are really even, this is a really great way of just having something that's visually contrasting, that's different in the feed. Number 2, speed up the talking head and then drop down the pitch. Sometimes the creator might be talking a little bit slower and you want to get through all of the messaging without actually cutting out the messaging itself. So what you can do is you can actually take the talking clip and you can speed it up, let's say 10%. Now the issue is that when you speed it up, the pitch goes a little bit higher. So what you can do on Adobe Premiere is you can actually bring that pitch down so that the clip is 10% faster, but it also sounds really normal and you don't even know that it's going a lot faster. If your video is a few seconds over a time limit, this is a really great way to squeeze everything in. But also if you feel like something is really just taking too long, this can actually just speed everything up without actually losing any of that dense information that you might need in the ad itself. Number 3, split screens. Split screens are a great way to show before and afters, us versus them, the differences of different products, or even showing different ways of looking at the same product itself. You can split the screen horizontally or vertically. So you can have things kind of stacking on top of one another, or you could split it vertically and you can have something on the left and the right. Personally, I like to stack things top to bottom. If you cut horizontally, you can actually shoot both of those clips horizontally, and then that way it allows you to fit more into each of those frames. Whereas if you are splitting vertically, you can't have as much visual information on those 2 visual clips, and it tends to kind of cut a lot of things out. So it's hard to get everything you would want in that vertical split. So that's why I really enjoy that horizontal split. Number 4, sound effects. Sound effects are a really great way to subtly emphasize something that is being said or shown with the use of sound design. You can add risers or different hit sounds to emphasize what's being said. You can use ambient sound to emphasize a mood or add to what is visually being shown. Good sound design can improve performance. Great sound design tends to get overlooked because the sound design actually feels natural. It's not something that you might first notice, but it really adds a lot of texture to the videos in a way that can be really engaging. So make sure that you have sound design, but don't do it in a way that is jarring or obvious, but add it when it's necessary. Next up, cut for faster pacing. There might be a long clip of a person doing something, let's say at home, and you want to cut through all the different parts of this person doing this task. You're not going to have enough time in an ad to have a 10-minute clip, but you might want to cut into that clip and actually have it feel a little bit more staccato. This is something that a lot of people do on social, so even though it might feel kind of unnatural to do at first, it really is natural in terms of where most media is being consumed, and people know that when you're cutting it, even if the placement of the camera never changes, that you are kind of bringing the person along that clip and that story. Next up, jump cuts, but for talking. So we just talked about cutting your footage, mainly your B-roll, but there's also jump cuts that you can have for talking head videos. This allows you to emphasize what the person is saying, as well as mask any sort of mistakes that the person makes. This also keeps the talking a lot tighter and faster faster in terms of the pace. I would be careful about how many jump cuts you do. I find that if you're doing too many jump cuts, it ends up being really jarring and it feels like gimmicky. It feels like you're trying to get me to watch this video. Really great jump cuts feel seamless and make sense when the talking is being cut. Number 7, keyframe zoom-ins for talking. Since we are talking about talking, instead of using jump cuts, you can also think about using zoom-ins with keyframes while somebody is talking. This gives the ability to have some sort of motion going forward or backwards that allows you to be engaged with the talking head without it having to be as jarring as a jump cut. Especially on longer talks, this allows you to subconsciously feel connected and feel like there's motion in the video without there being a ton of cuts or zoom-ins or anything like that. You can make these zoom-ins gradual over a long period of time, but I've also seen it being used to have quick zoom-ins as opposed to jump cuts, and that can work as well. Number 8, green screen talking heads. A lot of times when it comes to iterations or when you're editing longer talking videos, you want to be able to break up that talking and you want to be able to maybe put something behind it like a green screen. But most of the time when creators are creating green screen content, they have to be shooting in an actual app like CapCut or on an actual green screen. But luckily now with technology, you can use something like Runway ML and you can actually rotoscope anything you want. And this is something that we love to use. So it allows us to have any sort of talking head become a green screen if we want to. So we can shoot it as if it's a normal ad in a house, but then if we did want to add in a green screen later, whether that's for iterations or in the edit, we can easily just rotoscope them out and now we have a green screen. This just gives the editor more flexibility on options of how they can make an ad more engaging without it having to be a reshoot. And lastly, make sure that there are no pauses in between each clip. This seems obvious, but there's so many small moments in a video that adds up to many seconds. I know for me, even when I'm shooting my own content, when I go to edit and I shave off a few frames per every single clip, all of a sudden it adds up to multiple seconds, even within a 60-second video. So zoom in all the way down so you can see each frame and make sure that you end the clip at the end of the sound wave and that there's no additional space. At the end of the day, these editing techniques are not going to be the make it or break it as to why your ads are going to work. It always starts with the messaging and the research that you do for the ads themselves. That being said, editing does play a part in how that message is received by the consumer. So it's important to play with different editing techniques to create a variety in your ads themselves. So next time you're coming up with iterations or even net new ideas and you want to think about how you can improve your ads, start to play with some of these editing techniques that can really change the engagement or emphasis or pacing of your videos. That's it for this video. Comment down below which of these 9 editing techniques you want to use next. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, do all the things. We've got a podcast, we've got a newsletter, we've got so much content coming out on Instagram. We're gonna be everywhere and anywhere in 2025. So make sure to follow along. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if there are other videos you would want me to make or subjects that you want me to touch on, because that's what we're here for. We're here to help the people on how to make great ad creative. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.